Good evening, guys. Hopefully this is coming through loud and clear now. Smash that like button. Get those questions ready. G'day, Bradley. Great day on the snow. Nice. Whereabouts is that? Not in Australia. Let's go with Australian taxation on cryptocurrencies. I heard it was 50% profit. No, we won't get into tax too much tonight, Lost Explorer, but it depends on your individual tax rate and if you're a trader, investor. But Australia does have some high tax rates. If you earn over, I think it's 180k, you pay about 47 cents. G'day Nick, g'day Scott, Planet Pokewood, hey Matt. Trying to get a bit of sleep. The little one's been pretty rough. Every second night he seems to not want to sleep. Hey J-Bags, Angelo. So guys, we're going to go into lots of different things tonight. Thanks to everyone who has been subscribing and spreading the word. Who would have thought 40,000? It seems like only yesterday we had 4,000 and we're a very little YouTube channel and we've been growing in the bear market, which is something I want to talk about as well, guys. So I might get into that a little bit more when we got more people tuning in, but there's been some really exciting, positive, bullish things happening behind the scenes, which I want to talk about as well. Been a long time since we've done a Saturday Night Live. Unite the Fire, Charlie Lee, yes. So Litecoin has been leading the way. We're going to look at the charts. I'll continue to keep one eye on all your questions down here, guys. And to start off with, let's check out the Altcoin Market Cap. So this is CoinTrader.pro, and this charts a few other things that you can't get on TradingView and some smaller cap coins and that sort of thing. So if we just look at the Altcoin Market Cap, what has been happening? We see that there's been some buying coming back in after we got that mania, a pretty big bounce, and then unfortunately we entered that bear market and it went lower and longer than a lot of people, just about everyone expected, myself included. Now, since this formation here, and one of the things that we posted about in our premium education was this Adam and Eve pattern around about here when it was starting to form. And this is when we get a V shape and then a more rounded bottom, and it sort of comes down to test again. And this pattern's pretty similar across the board. But if we have a look at this, and this is a daily chart, volume is increasing. This isn't like the the bear flags or the wedges that we've seen where volume drops off and then we fall out and break sharply to the downside. Now, things can change, but for the first time in a while, positive bull volume starting to step in. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think about that? The other thing that I just want to discuss was the positive. So one of the things that I do is a lot of one-on-ones with people, getting their portfolio to a good mix, or they've got questions or getting set up. And this week we've had a couple more. And again, these numbers are all increasing compared to the bear market when no one was interested in crypto. One of the things that we're hearing is, oh, I've got $4,000, or another guy had 70 grand. And people are really think that this is a good time to enter the market. Now, as always, I can't give too much specific advice. You got to try and keep it pretty general in nature and all that sort of thing. But people are definitely viewing Bitcoin and altcoins at a good level. So the philosophy is that they might have one more leg lower, but if I'm a really long-term investor, do I really care? And depending on your mix of altcoins to Bitcoin, your outlook, if it's months or years, if you're doing a bit of trading as well as just being an investor, I really think there's some fantastic opportunities around now. So guys, let me know these questions if you've got any charts you want us to look at in particular. But to start off with, the next thing we'll look at is this inverse head and shoulders, the inverted head and shoulders that a lot of people have been talking about. This is on the daily chart of Bitcoin. And this is the next level that we're really watching now, this 4,100. And this is on Coinbase. We know there's a slight premium on Bitfinex. There's lots of clutter on this chart, but that level there is a bit higher at around 42, 4,300. And this price does vary wildly. A lot of clutter on that chart. Let's not worry about that one too much. Ethereum is an interesting one here. If this does form another shoulder or a handle on a bigger cup or whatever you want to look at this, right at this 200-day moving average, and $160 Ethereum after we had this complete capitulation back here down to $80. Now, another story for you guys while we're talking. I had a couple of guys who I know who are pretty close to the Ethereum devs. You know, they're right in the mix. And a lot of those guys opened up CPDs. So if you've watched my video, make a CPD, how to create a loan, you'll know that you can borrow money against your Ethereum. So a lot of the guys that are in the know, in the mix, call them whales if you will, opened up and took out loans against their Ethereum here, borrowed more money to buy more Ethereum. And now that Ethereum's gone from $80 to $160, that loan basically pays itself off because your ETH has doubled in price. So not only did you get to draw out money and buy more coins, but you've also paid off that loan already and you got to buy more coins. So this is something that I'm definitely looking to do, and I'll walk through in our premium members area. I'll do that for you guys if we do have another leg down, how to take out a loan at the right time, how to do it as a trader, whether you want to sit in DAI or sit in some gold, what altcoins I'll be buying and all that sort of thing. Power Ledger chart and ADA chart, a couple from you guys, and I should have these on my list. So Power Ledger, again, it's these ones that have done all the hard work. Volume starting to come in nice and steady at the 200-day moving average there. That'd be great for Power Ledger. You'd think we'd be getting up towards 16 cents from 10 cents here if we can get through there. Cardano is one that I'm absolutely loving here, guys. I've got all my notes ready for a full Cardano fundamental analysis. That'll hopefully be out in the next week or two. And this was one that was really hard not to cover. So I had people begging me to cover this one when Cardano was up over $1. And I knew Cardano was promising, and I knew I'd kind of missed out getting this super early, but I refused to chase altcoins if I know that I've missed them. And I always wanted to buy Cardano, but I wasn't going to chase that FOMO. And here we are, and I've been buying it at 4 cents and 7 cents. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are down 98%, whereas I'm now viewing this as a really good entry, as we see there, right at that moving average, next target up there. What's that, high 7 cents? So that's a 50% gain from here. This is the large percentage gains you get from altcoins. If I can grab my tool there, went because of the low base we're coming off. I'll just check this is all streaming all right still. Beautiful. Gold weekly cup and handle forming, says Tony. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed my gold video, my uranium video, and these other things that I like to invest in. Weekly cup and handle forming there. Yep, and gold that's the critical level for gold, 1350. If gold can get through there, a lot of people are now saying that's the bull market. We've had the long-term downtrend, came back and tested that trend line. Gold in Aussie dollars already breaking out. Basic attention token has done really well lately. Is this on my list? Weekly, let's go. Daily chart. So I think Coinbase gave it a bit of a boost at one stage there, got down to about 10 cents, sitting around 20 cents at the moment. I think BAT have had some great news lately, as I covered. They've partnered with some big companies. They're going to start to reward content creators directly. That's giving that token more and more utility, the more partnerships they can get under their belt. Okay, what do I think of Funfair? Seems to be struggling. Yeah, I still like my Funfair. I still own my Funfair. Did I get in touch with Charles? Charles Hoskinson was only in Australia for 48 hours or so I didn't get to chat with him, but hopefully we will in future. So Funfair is at the bottom of this list. This is one of those charts that you just look at and cry, guys, because I still think it's a pretty decent project. But look at the percentage gains, you know, once we just get out of this accumulation zone. Okay, next up here, Ravencoin is one that I don't own personally, but they've been doing some great stuff. So Ravencoin Similar mechanism to Bitcoin in that he's just got this trusted ledger, but it's allowing people to send these security tokens and assets to each other, but using the same sort of security mechanisms, proof of work, as Bitcoin, which I really think is interesting. Komodo is another one that's having some good news and had a bit of a run lately, and it's piggybacking off Bitcoin, and Bitcoin security, proof of work security is going to become really important going forward. Let's just quickly have a look at Litecoin because it is leading the way. Now, in our 4-year super cycle video we did not too long ago, hopefully you guys have all watched this one, Bitcoin, Litecoin 4-year super cycle, talking about the halving. I said that Litecoin anywhere from now until April can start to get that halving priced in, and sure enough, you know, Litecoin's just about dead and buried down here at $22. People saying Litecoin's got no purpose anymore, no future, and trust me, Litecoin's got a big community. It's a bit like Doge. There's always people that are going to believe and use Litecoin, comes back and tests the 200-day moving average and taking off there again. And next target you'd have to say is probably up here at that $80 mark. Guys, if you do have questions about the fundamentals, let me know those as well. I do accept BAT as a content creator, yes, and I have been using the Brave browser as soon as I found out about it because it is so much better. The Crypto.com CRO, I've heard their cards are fantastic, and the MCO token is paying out a pretty big reward at the moment. Chatter about Litecoin and Mimblewimble. Yep, I'm a big believer. I did a video called The Biggest Headwind for Cryptocurrency, and it was that privacy is coming to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, and regulators don't realize that yet. That's going to be a big game changer. Okay, let's have a look at a few of these others. Amisago, one that had been performing really poorly, probably hit the hardest, and then lately, you know, gone from a tick under $1 to up to $1.55, and it's still got a long way to go to get to that 200-day moving average back over $2. So it's just these charts, guys, where we're looking at the volume that was just nowhere to be seen throughout the bear market, that is starting to come back and increase. That's what we want to see. Holochain, someone says, what do you think of Holochain? I did an interview with them the other day. They're taking a different approach altogether and to the way that their data is shared, and trying to be a platform for everyone to build apps on top of that don't have to sync with each other, and they're in their individual consensus, I guess you'd say, which is a different concept. Again, it's different to a blockchain, it's different to a Tangle hash graph and all that sort of thing. Theta token is the next one you guys want me to look at. Wow, this has had a great run from 4 cents to a high of 16 cents. So there are altcoins out there that are, I'm picturing these like popcorn at the moment, guys. Some of them, and this was one that we had a great trade on, if that's going to show up properly there. Engine Coin, just absolutely, you know, this is 1,000, 2,000% gains. This is, 2017 bull market sort of crazy stuff that we're seeing. Neblio, guys, if you want fundamental questions, jot those down as well, because I've got to be honest, Neblio is one that I haven't done a lot of research on. For me, I'm making sure that I'm going to their official website, that I'll read the white paper. But if I'm just having a skim over, I'll be looking at what are they doing. And things that I get a bit worried about is when I see people building just platforms for applications to be built on top of, because everyone was doing that. There's so many platforms out there now. So the way that a coin like Neblio would succeed if it's building a platform that's going to compete with everyone is with those partnerships. So I'd be, you know, on their website, I'd be wanting to know who they've partnered with, are businesses signed up to use this enterprise grade platform, because otherwise they're just competing with everyone else. Price-wise, this one's had a decent run from 80 cents to $1.60. And to be honest, this is probably the average for a lot of altcoins. They've doubled. They're up 100% off their lows, which is nothing to complain about. But when we look across the board, there's some big movements. And when we go back to this altcoin chart, the total market cap is up around 50% from its lows. So if your altcoins are up more than 50%, it means you've chosen good ones. You're outperforming the whole altcoin market. And this is what I want to see. I want to see the 90%, 99%. Some people get angry when I say 99%, but guys, there's like 2,000 coins on Coin Market Cap, but there's about 10,000 projects out there now. So maybe 100, maybe 200 are the good projects that are going to do really well, even if 99% fail. So we want those projects to all fail and the money to get sucked out of them and go into the good projects, the larger cap coins. So as we see, the good coins are up 100%, 700%, whatever it may be, even though the total altcoin market is up 50% on average. Thanks, Tony. I do try and do a bit of everything, and certainly not an expert in everything. The idea is to cover these other topics and anything really to get you guys thinking and get you down the rabbit hole, the same as I started my journey. Grin and Mimble Wimble, I wouldn't own those personally, but the technology, pretty exciting, I think. Grin and Beam, sorry, I should say, that use Mimble Wimble. Altcoins are money printing, and the only public database is Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is king. I think it's the only one that is going to really act as a store of value. We're already seeing that. Now, that doesn't mean that other altcoins can't act as a medium of exchange, and then it comes back to how user-friendly is Lightning Network. If it's 1 or 2 clicks and we have awesome wallets that link up to people's savings, which is in a store of value as Bitcoin, then it gives less and less reason for people to use other coins. Now, if something like Dash or Nano goes in and gets traction in one individual country, that's great. Maybe that does get more use or becomes a store of value in that country. But guys, Bitcoin is by far the king. It's got a 10-year head start. Ethereum's got a 5-year head start. And a lot of people forget that. And they're starting to find that out the hard way with things like just asking your coin if they've got good hardware wallet support. And a lot of projects that are worth $1 billion still don't have good wallet support. Last you've heard from Factum was that they have got some enterprise partnerships, as I just discussed, for people to use their data solutions. With trading, always use a mix of fundamentals and TA. I'd always want to try and be aware. So if there's a chart that's looking pretty good, let's say if I like the fundamentals of Maker, and this is what I put out in my premium group, it's trade ideas saying, hey, the Engine wallet was a prime example. Guys, I think the Engine wallet launch is going to be a fairly big deal. It looks really cool. And sure enough, it turns out that good projects have good announcements and they've partnered with someone. Now, Samsung was probably better than we could have even hoped for a partnership, but don't be surprised when good projects have good announcement if you've done all that research and fundamentals. So if I'm liking a trade technically, and I know that Maker have got good news coming up in the future, they're launching multi-collateral DAI, then I'm more likely to go into a swing trade over the next few weeks if I know something's got good news coming up and the technical analysis looks good. Now, this is where I chat to other traders in our group and we share ideas. You guys have seen me do videos with Trader Cobb, Charting Man Dan, and they're the best trades when fundamentals and technicals align. Top 5 altcoins for the year. This is where I think people really overcomplicate it. Now, if you've got a friend or family that's just getting into crypto, you have to remember that everything is down 90 to 95% basically, apart from a few of the really good performers, Maker, Binance, and whatnot. Now, if you just pick a nice mix of Bitcoin, Ethereum, you guys know that I'm not the biggest fan of Ripple, but any of these larger cap coins, Litecoin is the oldest coin now without a hard fork. Binance Coin is a big exchange that's constantly making money. A lot of these are pretty safe plays. If you just make a nice mix, and the Crypto 20 token is also a good option for people that don't want to do all the research but just want to get a good mix. And I think a lot of money from institutions and Wall Street high net worth guys is just going to flow into the high cap coins. So unless you've got a lot of time to do your research, as maybe you do if you're watching this video and you're following my fundamental analysis and you're in our group or whatnot, maybe you do have a portfolio with better picks, that you're trying to pick the 50 or 100x coin in the next bull run. But we're so early and the market has corrected so far, you're going to get really good returns, 10 or 20-fold returns by just having some of the larger cap coins if we have that next bull run. And I think too often people try and find the next 100 or 1000x coin and it ends up going down 99% on them. So don't overcomplicate it. Have a bit of Bitcoin, guys. It still surprises me how many people have no Bitcoin. Initial exchange offerings will be one hell of a ride. Yeah, I did an emergency video for members the other night because I think initial exchange offerings offer an opportunity to make some quick flips, but at the same time, I think every other exchange is about to start pumping them out, and I think we're going to get an ICO like Mania, and then there's going to be one project that dumps and hits below the price that people paid for it, and people are going to go, hold on, this is like ICOs again. If you don't get out, you're stuck with these coins. And the worst thing is they're selling 5 or 10% of the token supply. The other 90 or 95% is still held by BitTorrent, for example, or the Tron, the BitTorrent token. That's going to come into supply over the next 3 years, and they're doing airdrops and whatnot, but don't overcomplicate the fundamentals of supply and demand. There is 90-95% supply that's going to be dumped on top of that demand. So unless the demand is increased, this doesn't really end well, I don't think, for these initial exchange offerings. I tested EOS Rex. What's EOS Rex? Is that one of the games, or do you mean the EOS DEX? Kyber have integrated EOS for decentralized coin swapping. Harmony says Bitcoin is terminal cancer to altcoins. What do you mean? I think it's the opposite. I think altcoins are dragging down Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will drag up altcoins. Chinese Communist Party, what do I think? I'm not sure of what China are going to do, but I think they're going to allow blockchain to some extent sooner or later. They're not just going to ban it altogether. Komodo is doing an initial exchange offering. I've heard some whispers, and that's why it's probably had a bit of a pump. Well, if the cat's out of the bag now, guys, Komodo is one of the coins I put out to my premium members to watch the other day. Let's see, is it here somewhere in my watch list? Probably gone past it. There it is. I did put this one out the other day to watch, guys, because I think Komodo is going to have a few of those initial exchange offerings launch on Huobi or some other large exchange. And just like Binance Coin, everyone rushes in and buys Binance Coin when there's these initial exchange offerings. People are going to rush in and buy KuCoin or Huobi token, whatever you need, millions of dollars worth of, to raise the funds in. Brave browser is awesome. I'll never go back. Completely agree, guys. Look at the number of trackers blocked, ads. It saved me 4.5 hours of my life, and this is only my work computer for videos. I do most on my laptop, where I think it's saved me 10 hours of waiting for ads in the the year since I've been using it or whatnot. So can't recommend it highly enough. Ontology, strangely, I think Ontology could gather more momentum than Neo. Now, I still own Neo because it's got that risk reward with the China factor, and maybe the government do start to work with Neo or the Ontology team. But I'm not sure. What do you guys think, the Neo fans out there? Were you disappointed with the NeoCon? And they've basically come out and said that scaling to the point of what Ethereum and these other second layer projects are doing is going to take them at least 2 or 3 years. That was really disappointing for me to hear as a Neo holder. If I had 20k, they're the sort of ones where I prefer to do one-on-ones with people to ask you your individual circumstances. Does 20k mean you just want to buy and hold for 5 years? Are you a trader? Do you want to learn to trade? Are you going to be active monitoring the fundamentals? So that's all different. But for me, if you're trying to get a friend to start, split it between Bitcoin, Ethereum, one of the larger cap coins. Play it safe. Thoughts on Cardano? I just spoke about that a little while ago, Maury. Well, I'll talk about it a little bit more now because I've got that fundamental analysis coming out. Cardano is another coin that I'm watching really closely with the fundamentals are starting to line up. Good releases, the technicals are starting to line up. It's one that, again, this is pretty much a free video that I do for my members that I wanted to share with you guys because we've passed 40,000 subscribers recently. So, yes, Cardano is another one that's currently on our stalk list because I think it is going to go crazy if they get some good news out that everyone's been waiting for, and it's down so much. If we zoom right out, if you buy some Cardano now, and it goes back to its all-time high, 2,000, 2,500%, 25-fold return. Each $1,000 is $25,000. Yeah, I can't give out financial advice. Apparently getting that ticket is only a 1-week course, and then you can say that you're a financial advisor, but you've got more liability. So it's crazy how the world of red tape and paperwork works. Still bullish on Horizon State. They've had a big reshuffle, and I got a feeling there was a few people that were unhappy in that team. Obviously, Iran has left. I did set him up to chat with CZ, as you guys saw on Twitter, and I don't think it went that well. I don't think they had much chemistry, but I'll give you guys a little exclusive that have taken the time to tune and watch this one. I have set Nemo, the new CEO, up to say g'day to CZ and see if they get on better, because they do have similar interests. They're both working in that charity field, and if you guys follow me on Twitter, you might have seen that conversation between CZ, Horizon State, and myself, and Crypto Lark that did the initial tweet about charity the other day. And at Nuggets News, we have been supporting Care for Africa, where my mum goes and does some work putting in water wells and stuff in Tanzania. $70 or 80% of Bitcoin is held by CCP. I'm not sure what you mean there, but whales and large holders, the top 100, that is definitely one of the arguments that I think is worth talking about. People argue that Bitcoin is more centralized than, fiat money and all the wealth that gets concentrated at the top of these corporations and pyramids. And wealth inequality has never been higher across developed nations, where the 99% of assets are owned by the top 1%, or whatever these crazy figures are. Now, with Bitcoin, hopefully, it is the opposite over time. So to start off with, the whales all own it. There's lots of the early Ethereum adopters, or any coin that have a large amount of coins. As the system grows and becomes more decentralized and distributed, more people use it, the more coins get dispersed amongst that ecosystem. And that is the opposite to the rent-seeking, power-drawing nature of corporations and governments, where we get the rich getting richer at the top of the pyramid. So hopefully that answers your question. A lot of coins are centralized. If they do get widely used, they become more decentralized. What's happening with AgriChain? If you check their Medium, so it might be Medium/Blockgrain, the old name, or AgriChain. They've put out 7 updates or so far this year. They're on Bancor Exchange. They're one of the guys. The problem with these ICOs that only raised a few $1 million and then crypto winter set in is that they've had to bunker down the hatches and cut back on everything, the bare minimum. They're not going to waste money on marketing if they're busy building their product and partnering with people. And a lot of these projects, the ones that I talk about a lot, and I did a lot of fundamental research on, I'm not unhappy with them. I didn't, one thing we never did was do paid ICO promotion. We tried to research projects and bring ones that we thought were interesting. And so, I stand by everything that I have sort of promoted on the channel, supported on the channel. I still think they're projects that are interesting, and it's all about partnerships now. They've got a working product. Are people going to use it? And that goes for every project. Quant Network, any questions in particular about Quant Network? Isn't one I've done full research on. So what do you like about Quant Network? You loved Neocon, Justin. What did you love about it? What did you get out of it? I'd be interested to know that. Neo feels crap, should integrate Neo and Ontology into one. And it definitely feels like there's a bit of a rift there, a bit of a tension, and a project with a lot of the same developers and team comes out and almost says they're doing the same thing. And then they kind of say, oh no, there's subtle differences and that. You know, I just wonder if they are better off merging. Affect AI jumping ship from Neo to EOS. And that is a theme we're going to see, guys. And there'll be projects, as much as I love ETH, guys, and I think it's the leader, it's going to be projects that are unhappy and they've jumped. And there's Emanate, the Australian music project we had on the channel the other day. They've decided to build on EOS because it suits them better. And I have no problem with that, guys. Each blockchain, if you can get developers to help you build out your app and it's got better functionality for you, there's going to be people using different blockchains. Thoughts on exchange tokens? Really bullish on Binance. They've done a few things lately that have left a bad taste in my mouth. I think they need to be really careful about shilling some of these ICOs. In the next bull run, if KuCoin are around, Horby, yeah, their token's getting up in value. I think KuCoin's got a better model, but it doesn't have as many people using it. It doesn't have the volume to be paying out those rewards, but it just all depends on if we get another retail bull run. As I said at the start of the video, when there's people waiting to pump tens of thousands of dollars into the market, it gives me a bit of hope. Now, in our premium members area, guys, we had our biggest ever month of new members, 60 new people joining our premium area, which is crazy to see. That this just wasn't happening months ago. The market was pretty much dead. Watching Tomo Chain, staking Tomo Chain, I'm not yet. Staking chains, here's my thoughts on staking chains. If you go looking down Coin Market Cap list too far, people get really excited that they find a staking coin that's giving them 20% staking rewards. And think about who's on the other side of the screen, as I always say. If everyone out there is only buying a coin to earn rewards, then they're all dumping it. And just because you get a big reward doesn't mean that it's going to go down in price faster. So proof of stake chains, that's definitely going to be another theme we see in 2019, the good proof of stake chains, but they've got to have a use case. Just because it's proof of stake and you earn rewards doesn't mean that's good. It's got to have some store of value. What are you going to do? What's anyone going to do if they get more and more free tokens? They're probably going to want to make some money. Digitex futures, definitely going to try that out and check it out. I'm a bit sus when these Digitex is saying they've got 1 million users signed up. Maybe they do. BitMEX has been unbelievably popular. Maybe they do have 1 million people signed up for Digitex futures, but is it a marketing gimmick to get people super, super excited? I hope not. I hope they do succeed, because BitMEX engine isn't great. You guys know how clunky it is. If Digitex builds something better, then yeah, people are going to use it. What do I feel for the direction of the market at the moment? I did a detailed analysis for our members the other day. I think the general consensus is that we might have one more leg down. But often when everyone's bearish, that's when it's time to be bullish. What I will show you just quickly, guys, is the number of shorts on Ethereum, which has dropped all the way down here to 100,000. And if we compare that to the number of longs, that's up at a record high of 540,000. That is an insane difference between longs and shorts. 400,000 Ethereum. People are betting it's going to go up. When everyone thinks that something's going to go up, I often start to look to take the other side of that trade. So if we get up here and we've become too extended too quickly, maybe it rejects, and that doesn't mean that we have to make a new low to close and liquidate all those longs with a short squeeze. But I'm certainly wary that if we get here, we're overextended, there's way too many longs, it's far less likely that this head and shoulders pattern is going to break to the upside. Are you interested in Nash? Is doing or planning on making any content about Nash? Non-custodial, coming soon, registered European security. Is it just Nash.io? I think I've been there. Thanks for the $5 donation, Daniel. Next token. That's what I'm thinking of. Yes. So Nash, all these projects that are... I tried to sign up to this referral program the other day, but they'd run out or they wouldn't let me sign up or whatever. So I really like any of these exchanges that have... Look how clean and friendly this interface is. Now, if you can do one-click trading from... your Neo to other coins and all that sort of thing. That's awesome. And there's so many of these coming out at the moment. Now, are these guys doing lending and that sort of thing as well? Decentralized finance? I think they are, aren't they? Anyway, this is one that I'll have to have a look in more because I do like these real clean interfaces. But the lending, and that's where I see the huge opportunity, decentralized finance. So Nash is focusing on a DEX, it looks like, at that stage, but maybe they need to integrate finance as well. Where did ABBC come from? I'm not sure what you mean by that one. Is that a coin? I'm not talking about Bitcoin ABC. Telling people the market is switched, says Justin. Let's have a look at the EOS chart, says Crypto Brad. Okay, so EOS was one that was hit really hard. It had a run up later than a lot of everything else. When the rest of the market peaked in December, January, EOS, that hype around the ICO, and again, this ICO was one that worried me. I don't think any project needs billions of dollars, and then they're not even helping the ongoing development of block 1. So crazy how much Ethereum people gave them, and what happened? They dumped all their Ethereum, and Ethereum went down 90%. So all these people that were throwing money at ICOs, they came back to haunt them because all these ICOs dumped their ETH and drove down the price just as it drove up the price. So EOS is one where all the people currently building on EOS, and a lot of projects pay their staff in these tokens, and so people are having to sell to survive. And if you were getting 1,000 EOS a month to run your project, you were getting $5,000 a month, even in crypto winter. But once it got down to $2, all of a sudden you're running off $2,000 a month as a business instead of $5,000. So that's why it got hit so hard. Now there's lots of dApps out there, as I mentioned the other day, Emanate and a few other good ones. It's right at its 200-day moving average, 100% off its lows from $2 to $4. If it breaks through there, $5.50, I'd be looking at this next area up here of resistance. Bank to the Future with Simon Dixon. I hope you guys love that interview. I always love talking to whales. Oh, Nash is like Binance DEX for securities. Is that right? Okay. Elastos, I think, is really interesting. Nexus, and there's probably one or two others that are trying to do decentralized internet. I think that's a very commendable project, libertarian of these creators. ICX. Yeah, I like ICX's latest, was it their yellow paper, where they gave a lot of update about they're going to be moving into the world of STOs. Let's see, ICX should be on my watch list. How's that one performing price-wise? And this one hasn't really had a run yet. So the lows of around 19 cents. Oh, yep, still up around 100%, nearly doubled. But really all these altcoins are either testing their 200-day average or coming back to retest it if they've had a good move. Quant is the best interoperability project in crypto. You have the choice to use any blockchain you want with only 3 lines of code. Already partnered with some big players, including a cloud. Cool. Yeah, I know Blockchain Brad's been focusing on that one, and he certainly focused on some of the enterprise stuff more than me. I'm a bit old school in that I was around early watching all these decentralized projects come out, and now there's been a huge switch to people thinking that blockchain for business is going to be the big thing. And now some people are thinking security tokens are going to be the big thing. I'm actually still a believer that the best platforms and decentralized projects are going to be the big thing going forward, particularly as if you own a utility token. For security tokens and business profitability, it's a different kettle of fish. Stella Lumens on Coinbase now. Yep, if I had to own one over Stella or Ripple, I'd choose Stella Lumens because I think they've gone in a few more different directions. And one thing I said a year ago, 2 years ago, was that banks aren't going to use a bank coin. They're going to bring out their own. And sure enough, we're starting to see that already. Yet people still just tell me that I'm just hating on Ripple. But guys, I think that's the fact. Look, everyone's going to have a coin. Facebook coin, JP Morgan coin. Every bank's going to bring out their own coin because they can print it for free. Why the hell are they going to go to the market and have to buy $100 million of Ripple tokens? They're just not going to do that. Smash that like button, everyone, says Kang. Thanks, mate. Nugget, have you heard of Grossel coin? Yes, I have. One of the longest. Yeah, actually, I went to interview these guys the other day or have a quick chat to them, and I didn't realize that had been around for I think it's 10 years even they've been playing around with this concept. For those that don't know, GRS, Grossel coin, he's got some card payments, some really cool looking card payments. Instant and private transactions, subatomic fees. Do we have their cards? This is the really sexy looking card that I want to get my hands on, guys. Team wallets, apps, testnet. No, don't tell me I'm thinking of something else. I swear I saw someone show me their Grossel coin card the other day, debit card. Yep, here we go, and it looked really cool. There's another project that I found the other day that had a wicked debit card as well, and there's some. So great to see some debit cards coming out. This one that I'm looking at, I might do a video on. I did share it with our members last night. Is the only one I've found that is an anonymous card, a debit card that lets you load crypto and use it worldwide anonymously, which is pretty crazy. What events in 2019 could have major impact on crypto market? News on Bakkt has been silent. How much influence should that and Starbucks deal have? So remember last year, everyone was obsessed with the ETF, and we were sort of saying that it's going to be in the news. It's going to be a big deal short term, but it's adoption in these other countries that are most important and exciting. And lately, the news narrative has changed to, hey, look how much Bitcoin's been used in Venezuela or Argentina, and that trend is going to hit a critical mass when all of a sudden it's a dozen countries that are all using Bitcoin, and people go, hold on, this is so real, okay? And that is just one of the aspects, as well as Bitcoin being a store of value and a means to speculate in other countries. So the big news would be if someone comes out and says in the G20 nations, the developed nations, starts to push a narrative. And yesterday we saw that absolutely tragic shooting in New Zealand, and it was by an Aussie guy as well, which makes it even sadder for Australians. Apparently he was funded by BitConnect, and if we see more news stories that have negative connotations towards crypto, and we know that crypto is used for such a tiny percentage of bad things compared to banks, money laundering and everything else. But if banks, governments, corporations get really threatened, like everything, guys, and this is putting on your tinfoil hat a little bit conspiratorial, they're going to create a narrative. The mainstream is going to create a narrative against crypto. That's when it's up to us to fight. And trust me, the war is only just getting started. And Bitcoin has got decades ahead of it of fighting and becoming this new system for everyone, because banks aren't going to give up their power easily. This is a YouTube live stream. Thirsty Black Dog, yes. I skipped you twice. Sorry, Eric. What do you think of Link? Let's bring it up. Is this Chainlink? Yeah. Okay, is this another interoperability? Smart contracts, real world data, payments. what's its point of difference here? That's what I'm always looking for when I look at these projects that are kind of saying, you know, we're a platform, we're doing smart contracts, real world data. Why am I going to use this instead of use any of the other payments out there? So I'd be looking at their partnerships, all that sort of thing. And this is where I want to jump on the phone or Telegram, whatever, and chat to these advisors. And that sometimes we don't go ahead with a video. Sometimes we do go ahead when we think companies are really promising. So I haven't done full fundamental analysis. It's not fair for me to comment on projects that I don't know much about. So sorry about that, Eric. What's everyone's... Where are we back up the top? What's your thoughts on Cardano? I just covered that about 5 or 10 minutes ago. Charles Hoskinson was only in Australia for 48 hours. And he flew out, and I was flying to Melbourne myself. Now, in Melbourne, guys, I was lucky enough to talk to the Australian Treasury Department and trying to get some better crypto regulations and better home for technology, because I fear, and we're already seeing it, that so many good projects are moving to Hong Kong, Asia, Malta, somewhere with lower tax, somewhere with better developers, less uncertainty about how high they're going to be taxed if they raise money, all this sort of stuff. And it breaks my heart to see all these people moving out of Australia. G'day, Paul. Check out Paul's channel, guys. Paul Demicrito, if I pronounced that correctly, did a great podcast with Paul the other day. Crypto saying banks can't do cross-border payments with their coins. They can just use the dollar. They need to use a vehicle, so they'll use XRP. I'm not sure why banks wouldn't be able to do cross-border payments with their own coins if XRP can, but hey, who knows? Maybe we will see a huge bank use XRP. Yes, prices are all down 90%. Everyone gets a little bit of a green, and all of a sudden all the traders are excited. And a lot of people saying that everyone is way too bullish on crypto Twitter and all that sort of thing as well. Bitcoin ABC, I think Bitcoin Cash dug their own grave. Maybe they had a slight chance by doing their own thing when they split off, believing they were carrying on Satoshi's vision. But as soon as Bitcoin Cash themselves had their own infighting, and we have even Roger Ver, I believe, changed his demeanor a lot since this has happened. Then we have Calvin, Craig in the news. I just can't see how anyone can say that they're going to build a strong community, have everyone follow them. I just don't see how that can possibly happen now. Synthetics is doing great things. So that's the Aussie project Haven that rebranded to Synthetics. They're very similar to Maker. They're doing decentralized stable coins, decentralized gold, and I've heard maybe decentralized stocks and stuff going forward. The SIBO have stopped doing Bitcoin futures. They're going to do the final contract in June. There wasn't enough volume. The day we found out about that, I did a video called How Will Futures Affect Bitcoin's Price? And one of the things I said was that Bitcoin trades 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Futures trade 6 or 7 hours a day, or stock markets do, and futures trade a bit longer, but 5 or 6 days a week. You can't put the square peg in a round hole, guys. Bitcoin is going to have a day where it goes up $1,000 when the futures are closed, and everyone is going to get wrecked. Those markets are manipulated. Bitcoin just does not fit that narrative. Store of value is delusional. Do you mean Bitcoin is a store of value? It all depends on your time frame. So Bitcoin currently is a speculative store of value. It's been the best store of value on the planet over the past 10 years, the best performing asset 8 out of the last 9 years. You can't say it's not a good store of value. In the short term, if you got in at the wrong time, you've lost a lot of value, but it's because it is a volatile, speculative store of value. And in some countries, Venezuela, Argentina, even though Bitcoin's down 90%, you've still made a fortune. It has acted as the ultimate store of value in those countries. So you can't say it's not a store of value. It is to certain people. But I think it's the start of the bull run. What would I want to see on the Bitcoin chart before I get too excited? So I'd want to see this head and shoulders complete and follow through. And let's see how big our target is. About $750. So we're looking at 4,870. So that would literally get us right here if we broke out to the 200-day moving average. We then want to catch our breath, maybe come back and test this area that's acted as resistance and then have a big, strong move. And we have to remember, guys, it's this 6,000 level that's going to be, where's my laser level? This is the level here that's just been support this whole way along throughout the year, throughout crypto winter that broke. That is going to be a hell of a lot of hard work to do technically on the charts to get through there. So that's when we can start to get really excited. A lot of people have got skin in the game. You've got your bags that we're all sitting on, our altcoins. Don't feel like you're missing out if crypto goes up now, if you've got that last little bit that you're waiting. Next meetup in Melbourne. That is a good question, GT. It is on the 27th, I believe, but I'll share more about all that on Twitter. Thoughts on high performance blockchain? Look, they've had to push back their mainnet. I remember the last thing I read. Big partnerships confirmed. Okay, well, that's good. That's what we'd like to hear. But I'm always dubious when there's a trade-off. So when we hear 1,000 transactions per second, 1 million transactions per second, there's normally a trade-off. So they've got less nodes, or they're running a different mechanism, proof of stake instead of proof of work. So there's trade-offs with security. Now, for some applications, that doesn't matter. So again, it's one of those things where you've got to do your research and think, hey, does this matter? Am I happy with this? 10x card shipping to Australia. Yep, I'm waiting for mine in the mail any day. IOTA, I really like IOTA. They had an article out the other day that they are nearly ready to remove the coordinator node, which means the Tangle can function the way it was meant to. And IOTA's going from 20 cents to 30 cents. So that's certainly one that's lagging a bit. So this is another one I might add to my stalking watch list, looking for a trade here. 20% to get up to its 200-day moving average. And then we've got a lot more to go to get up to these previous levels. So still like IOTA. Air stays, I haven't read much about that one, sorry. Singularity Net, look, that was one that a lot of people got angry at me for covering on my channel when I did fundamental analysis, and all of a sudden it's on Joe Rogan and they're making partnerships and everyone's excited about AI. So guys, sometimes, you know, without sounding like an idiot, sometimes if you're a little bit ahead of what people are ready for, people got angry at me for covering Bitcar when I spoke about fractionalizing assets. And that was 2 years ahead of its time. People are now talking about how great fractionalizing assets are going to be, getting exposure to asset classes they otherwise wouldn't have. So, guys, I'm always doing my research and I'm always meaning well. I've never shilled anything or got paid to shill something. Yes, I have used CryptoLark's referral code for Nash. I did help him out. CryptoLark and I are having a meetup together in Sydney at EdCon, guys. I hope to see you all there. I think that's April 10th to 14th, something like that. Sharing, Tim and Rowan, guys, from Melbourne, I believe. Yeah, seem nice enough, guys. They're doing a sharing economy similar to Kenya. Bitcoin Satoshi Vision is extremely strong community and they're all in agreement, not like the dead Bitmain Cash. See, that's the interesting thing, that Bitcoin Cash guys used to troll me on Twitter, and now the same people are trolling each other. They both believe that they're the real Bitcoin Cash. That's what I just think, it's so confusing for new people to this space. I mentioned earlier about Mimblewimble possibly coming to some of the larger cap coins. How will regulators react to it? Not just Mimblewimble. So there's Dandelion, all sorts of privacy mechanisms, ZK snarks. There might even be multiple ways as a second layer solution, if it doesn't happen on the base chain, for these larger cap coins to implement privacy. Now, regulators are gonna, as always, just like they're struggling to get their head around how do we regulate ICOs, and the boom's kind of behind us. These coins are going to go private and they're going to be out there and everyone is going to own them, and then they're going to be hindsight trying to get regulation out there. So some countries that are going to panic, we've already seen some countries, Japan I think, made exchanges delist privacy coins. Once it's out there, guys, there's nothing you can really do about it. It's like saying you're banning the internet or you're banning downloading of movies. People still know how to do it. Hopefully I'm getting through all your questions here, guys. Zcash, old privacy community. Jason Lee got the industry policy coordinator job at ADCAR. Yes, I'd talk to ADCAR and Blockchain Australia regularly. G'day from Japan, Glenn. Polis are making cards the same as everyone else. Interesting. I haven't seen them yet. Depends on what countries you're giving out your cards to and your fees and all that sort of thing. If it's competitive and they've got good marketing campaigns about getting people to start using those cards. Are there any solid blockchain-based social sites like Facebook and YouTube? There's one I've been using recently called Cent. Where you, is it cent.io, where you get paid to create content? No, not that one. Where is it? So this is one where people can upvote your content. It's decentralized. I interviewed them last week, and it is going to hopefully be a competitor to YouTube, Instagram, everything. And hopefully, if you're putting out good content, people upvote your work. It's a little bit like Steemit, a bit different in some ways. It's built on ETH. 50 200-day cross would be nice for Bitcoin. Have I got? Let's put that on the chart. Yeah, if we can get the 50 to cross the 200 day, that'll be up somewhere around this head and shoulders, breaking the way we want it to. Why did Bitcoin go off a cliff at 6K? That is a great question. So recently, again, for members in our premium area, guys, I did a video about triangles, wedges, ascending, all these different sort of patterns. Now, when we have an area that has acted as support so many times for so long, think of it as a hammer hitting a nail. We get the high bounce, bang, hit the nail again, and each bounce gets slightly lower, and then the nail gets driven through, and that's basically how it happens. Now, in our premium area, we're not just explaining these chart patterns, we're talking about the psychology behind it, and all these buyers that thought 6,000 was the bottom, and guys, I was one of them. I was really hopeful this was going to hold. Once that is broken, a lot of people have their stops here, and then they all get liquidated, and then people realize that, wow, technically the damage is done. We have a little pennant or a little flag, and then we have another leg down, and then people are looking, zooming out on the charts, and people say technical analysis doesn't work. Well, you know, we were saying that you got to look at these next levels that were previous support and resistance, and sure enough, it just about got all the way back down here to that 3,000 peak that was the China FUD. Some of you guys will remember we did that video live at the time when China banned Bitcoin exchanges. This is your favorite kind of content. Thanks, Jam Soul. Love to hear that. I do these twice a week for our members, guys. It's $35 US a month. You get 10 extra videos a month. I try and save my best content for our members. Head to nuggetsnews.com.au if you want to join us. We've got over 1,000 people. We've become like a family, sharing ideas and helping each other make money, hopefully. Brisbane meetup in the future, absolutely. When we went around Australia and we did our national tour and we met everyone, in January 2018, that was one of the best periods of our life, I think. Everyone was in a pretty good mood in the bull market. Dragon Chain, another one that I'm working on a video on about. What's Komodo? Has Komodo just had a move since we've been talking about it? Someone's saying, damn, Komodo in the chat. Am I keeping scrolling past it? Komodo's had a pretty big week up to $1.55, but no movement yet. What do I think about setting up a Lightning node? If you're technically minded enough to do that, then hey, that's awesome. Casa node is the less technical option that you can buy for $300 or $400 and plug it in, and it runs a Bitcoin node and a Lightning node for you if you don't know how to code that yourself or set one up yourself. When Lambos, hopefully we get some really bullish action around the next halving, which is sooner for Litecoin than Bitcoin. But in the next 12 months, when everyone's talking about these halvings, I can't see how we at least get a bullish period. That doesn't mean we have a huge bull market. Keep up the great work, says Cobb. Thanks, man. I'm very lucky. I love my job now, and I was pretty unhappy at my last job. So getting to do what you love every day makes it a lot easier. It's not a chore to work 7 days a week. Well, guys, it's been an hour. That's crazy. QuantStamp, I love smart contract auditing. They need to get some money in the door, and they'll be right. Yes, I covered Holochain the other day, guys. Aetherium, I don't know a lot about. Factum and Komodo we touched on earlier in this video. Not trolling it. Yeah. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Guys, we respect everyone's opinion. We only block people that start carrying on swearing and stuff. Don't tolerate that. Well, guys, it's been an hour. I'm glad you've all made it out. Head to nuggetsnews.com.au for more info. But tomorrow will be our weekly members video. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Cheers.